Tom Grayson stood on the weathered porch of his family farm, whispering hollow, cradling a chipped ceramic mug of black coffee. The early morning sun spilled golden light across the rolling hills, glinting off the still waters of Hollow Pond, a shimmering jewel nestled at the heart of his land. The air carried the crisp bite of autumn, laced with the earthy scent of damp soil and fallen leaves. It was October 15th, 2025, and for Tom, this daily ritual of coffee and quiet was sacred. The farm had been in his family for 3 generations, a legacy of hard work and simple joys passed down from his great-grandfather, who'd carved this haven out of the wilderness. The pond, with its chorus of croaking frogs and lazy ducks, was Tom's sanctuary, a place where the world's noise faded into the rustle of wind through the trees. He took a slow sip, savoring the bitter warmth, as his gaze drifted to the pig pen. His herd of 6 hogs lounged contentedly in their mud pit, their grunts and snuffles a familiar soundtrack to his mornings. At the center of the pack was Lord Bacon, a massive, bristly boar with a penchant for mischief and an uncanny knack for stealing the spotlight. Tom chuckled softly, watching Bacon roll onto his back, hooves flailing in the air like a toddler throwing a tantrum. Life here was predictable, peaceful, and entirely his own until the sharp crunch of gravel under tires shattered the stillness. A sleek silver Mercedes SUV roared up the driveway, kicking up a plume of dust that hung in the air like a bad omen. Tom squinted, setting his mug down on the porch railing as the driver's door swung open with theatrical flair. Out stepped a woman who looked like she'd just walked off the set of a reality TV show. She wore a tailored emerald green blazer over a matching skirt, her blonde hair pulled into a tight bun that screamed authority. A pair of oversized sunglasses sat perched on her nose, and she clutched a leather-bound tablet like it was a scepter. Her stiletto heels clicked against the ground with the precision of a metronome as she strode toward him, her expression a mix of disdain and determination. Tom leaned back against the railing, crossing his arms. "Morning," he called out, keeping his tone light. "Lost your way to the country club?" The woman stopped a few feet from the porch, lowering her sunglasses just enough to peer over them. "I'm looking for the owner of this establishment," she said, her voice dripping with condescension as she gestured vaguely at the farm. Her eyes flicked to the pigs, and her nose wrinkled as if she'd caught a whiff of something foul. "That'd be me," Tom replied, stepping forward with a casual grin. "Tom Grayson. What can I do for you?" She didn't return the smile. Instead, she straightened, tapping her tablet with a manicured nail. "I'm Vanessa Caldwell, president of the Crestwood Estates Homeowners Association. We have a problem, Mr. Grayson, and it starts with that." She pointed an accusing finger at the pig pen, where Lord Bacon had just let out a particularly loud snort. Tom raised an eyebrow, amused. "My pigs? They're not exactly trespassing on your manicured lawns, MS. Caldwell." Vanessa's lips pursed into a thin line. "Your pond borders our community," she said, as if that explained everything. "It's an eyesore, a health hazard, and frankly, an insult to our property values. Crestwood Estates has standards, and your little farm doesn't meet them." Tom's grin faded slightly, but he kept his cool. "With all due respect, this land's been Grayson property since before your fancy gates went up. The pond's mine, the pigs are mine, and last I checked, I don't answer to your HOA." Vanessa's eyes narrowed, her grip tightening on the tablet. "We'll see about that," she snapped, scribbling something with a stylus before turning on her heel. "This isn't over, Mr. Grayson." She marched back to her SUV, the engine rev VYing dramatically as she peeled out, Leah VYing Tom, standing in a cloud of dust and disbelief. He shook his head, picking up his mug. "City folks," he muttered, taking another sip. Little did he know, Vanessa Caldwell wasn't just a nuisance, she was a storm brewing on the horizon, and Whispering Hollow was squarely in her path. Days passed quietly after Vanessa's VY sit, the encounter fading into the background of Tom's routine. He spent his mornings tending the farm, feeding the pigs, repairing fences, and hauling hay with his farmhand, Eli, a wiry man with a perpetual grin and a collection of faded tattoos peeking out from under his flannel sleeves. Eli had been with Tom for years, a loyal friend who'd seen the farm through lean winters and bountiful summers. Together, they kept Whispering Hollow humming along, a well-oiled machine of mud and muscle. It was a crisp Thursday afternoon when the next sign of trouble arrived. Tom was splitting firewood near the barn when he spotted a cream-colored envelope tacked to his mailbox, fluttering in the breeze. He wiped the sweat from his brow and ambled over, prying it loose with a frown. The paper was thick, embossed with a floral border that screamed pretension, and the text was typed in a font so ornate it was almost unreadable. He skimmed the words, his jaw tightening with every line. Dear Mr. Grayson, due to an unexpected delay in our community pool renovation, Crestwood Estates will be hosting my son's 18th birthday celebration at your quaint pond on Saturday, October 20th. You are welcome to attend. Provided you dress appropriately and ensure your animals and unsightly mud are removed prior to our arrival. We trust you'll cooperate for the benefit of our esteemed guests. Regards, Vanessa Caldwell, HOA President. Tom read it twice, the absurdity sinking in. She's kidding, right? He muttered, crumpling the letter in his fist. Vanessa hadn't asked permission. She'd issued a decree, as if Whispering Hollow were her personal playground. He stormed back to the house, slamming the door behind him, and dialed Eli. Boss! Eli's voice crackled through the phone, laced with the sound of a tractor rumbling in the background. Get over here, Tom said, pacing the kitchen. We've got a situation. 10 minutes later, Eli pulled up in his beat-up Ford pickup, the bed rattling with tools and a half-empty bag of pig feed. He hopped out, brushing dirt off his jeans, and met Tom on the porch. What's got you riled up? He asked, squinting at the crumpled letter in Tom's hand. Tom thrust it at him. Read this. Vanessa Caldwell's throwing a party at my pond. Didn't even ask, just told me to clean up and stay out of the way. Eli scanned the note, his grin widening with every word. Oh, this is gold, he said, handing it back. She's got some nerve. What's the plan, boss? Tom's eyes glinted with mischief. She wants a party? Fine. But I reckon Lord Bacon and the crew deserve an invite too. Let's give her a real country welcome. Eli clapped his hands, cackling. Now you're talking. Bacon's been itching for some action. You want me to round him up? Tomorrow, Tom said, nodding. We'll let him loose by the pond right before her guests show up. If Vanessa wants Whispering Hollow, she's getting the full experience. Saturday dawned bright and clear, the sky a brilliant blue that made the pond sparkle like a mirror. Tom and Eli spent the morning preparing, herding the pigs down to the water's edge and letting them wallow to their heart's content. Lord Bacon, freshly coated in a thick layer of mud, strutted like a king surveying his domain. By noon, the transformation began. Vans rolled in, unloading tables draped in white linen, strings of fairy lights, and a massive three-tiered cake covered in silver fondant and edible pearls. A banner stretched across 2 trees read, Happy 18th, Ethan, in bold, glittering letters. Vanessa had spared no expense, turning the rustic pond into a scene straight out of a luxury magazine. Tom watched from the porch, arms crossed, as Vanessa directed her army of caterers and decorators with the precision of a drill sergeant. She wore a shimmering gold dress that caught the sunlight, her tablet swapped for a walkie-talkie she barked orders into. Guests began REVYing teenagers in designer clothes, parents sipping champagne, all blissfully unaware of the chaos lurking in the mud. Eli sidled up beside Tom, chewing on a piece of straw. Showtime, boss. Tom nodded. Let's lose. With a whistle, Eli swung open the makeshift gate they'd rigged by the pond. The pigs charged out, squealing with delight, their hooves churning the soft earth into a muddy mess. Lord Bacon led the pack, his sights set on the towering cake like a heat-seeking missile. Guests turned, confused, as the herd barreled through the party. A girl in a pink sundress shrieked as a pig brushed past her, Leah vying a streak of mud on her skirt. A man dropped his champagne flute, staggering back as another hog sniffed his polished loafers. Then it happened. Bacon reached the cake table, rearing up on his hind legs to bury his snout in the bottom tier. Silver frosting smeared across his face as he chomped gleefully, the table wobbling under his weight. Vanessa's scream pierced the air, high and shrill, as she sprinted toward him, gold heels sinking into the mud. "Get that beast away from Ethan's cake," she bellowed, grabbing Bacon's bristly flank in a futile attempt to pull him off. The pig, undeterred, shook her off with a triumphant snort, sending her stumbling backward into a pile of balloons. Guests erupted into laughter, phones flashing as they captured the spectacle. Vanessa flailed, her dress now streaked with mud and frosting, her perfect bun unraveling into a wild mess. Tom leaned against the porch railing, sipping his coffee, a slow grin spreading across his face. "Guess country life ain't for everyone," he murmured. The fallout was immediate and glorious. By evening, the party had dissolved into chaos, tables overturned, decorations trampled, and Vanessa soaked to the knees in pond water, shrieking at anyone who'd listen. Ethan, the birthday boy, seemed more amused than upset, posing for selfies with Bacon while his friends howled with laughter. Vanessa, however, was a different story. She stormed up to Tom, her gold dress dripping, and jabbed a finger at his chest. "You did this on purpose," she hissed, her voice trembling with rage. "You've ruined my son's day, humiliated me in front of my community, and I will make you pay for it." Tom met her gaze calmly. "You wanted my pond a mess. Caldwell, I just made sure you got the full package. Next time, ask first." Her face flushed a deep crimson, and she spun away, nearly tripping over a stray balloon. "This isn't over, Grayson," she spat, stomping off toward her SUV. Tom watched her go, a flicker of unease settling in his gut. Vanessa wasn't the type to let this slide come back swinging, and he'd need more than pigs to fend her off. Eli clapped him on the shoulder, still chuckling. "That was a masterpiece, boss. Ain't seen nothing that funny since my cousin lit his own barn on fire trying to smoke out a raccoon." Tom managed to laugh, but his mind was already racing. "She's not done, Eli. We poked the bear, and she's got claws." The next morning, Tom's suspicions were confirmed. A courier delivered a thick envelope, sealed with a law firm's logo and reeking of trouble. Inside was a summons. Vanessa was suing him for property damage, emotional distress, and intentional sabotage of a private event. The claims were absurd, but the legal jargon was intimidating, and the dollar amount she demanded made his stomach drop. She wasn't just mad, she was out for blood. Tom called his oldest friend, Clara, a no-nonsense woman who ran a small bakery in town and had a knack for cutting through bullshit. She arrived within the hour, her pickup rattling to a stop beside the porch. Clara was short and sturdy, with graying hair tied back in a messy braid and a pair of reading glasses perpetually perched on her head. She took one look at the summons and snorted. "She's suing you because Bacon ate her cake," she said, tossing the papers onto the kitchen table. "This woman's got more ego than sense." Tom rubbed his temples, slumping into a chair. "I didn't mean for her to go this far, Clara. She pushed me." Clara smirked, pouring herself a cup of coffee from the pot on the counter. "And you pushed back with a herd of pigs." Classic Tom. "Look, she's counting on you to back down, fold under the pressure of lawyers and big words. But you've got something she doesn't." "What's that?" Tom asked, glancing up. Clara leaned in, her eyes twinkling. "You've got us, and you've got those pigs. She might have money, but we've got grit. Let's fight dirty." Tom chuckled, the weight lifting slightly. "What's the play?" "First, we get proof," Clara said, tapping the table. "Photos, witnesses, anything showing she trespassed first. Then we hit back. She wants a war? We'll give her one she won't forget." Over the next week, Tom, Clara, and Eli turned Whispering Hollow into a war room. They dug through old property records. Pro-VYing the pond was well outside Crestwood's jurisdiction. Neighbors who'd attended the party offered statements, gleefully recounting Vanessa's meltdown. Even Ethan, in a surprising twist, sent Tom a text, "Sorry about my mom." The pig thing was hilarious. "Let me know if I can help." Tom stared at the message, floored. The kid was on his side. Vanessa's own son. But the real bombshell came on a rainy Tuesday afternoon. Tom was feeding the pigs when Eli burst into the barn, soaked and breathless, holding a soggy scrap of green fabric. "Found this caught on a bush by the back trail," he said, grinning. "Recognize it?" Tom took it, turning it over in his hands. It was a torn piece of Vanessa's blazer, the same one she'd worn during her first VY sit. The trail led straight to Crestwood Estates. "She's been snooping," Tom said, his voice low. "What the hell's she up to?" Clara, who'd just arrived with a tray of fresh biscuits, overheard. "She's desperate," she said, setting the tray down. "Probably looking for dirt to use against you. We need to catch her in the act." That night, they set a trap. Eli rigged a motion sensor camera near the pond, hidden in a cluster of reeds. Tom stayed up, watching the live feed on his laptop, a pot of coffee keeping him company. At 2 a.m., the screen flickered to life. There she was, Vanessa, dressed in black leggings and a hoodie, creeping along the trail with a flashlight. She stopped by the pig pen, snapping photos, then moved to the pond, poking around the muddy banks. Tom's jaw clenched as she pulled out a small shovel and started digging, clearly searching for something to pin on him, maybe a violation she could exaggerate in court. "Gotcha," Tom whispered, essay VYing the footage. Vanessa had just handed him the upper hand. The next morning, Tom took the VY Deo to a lawyer in town, a grizzled old man named Hank who'd handled his grandfather's estate years ago. Hank watched the clip, chuckling. "She's trespassing, tampering with private property, and digging holes on your land without a permit. This'll bury her case faster than your pigs buried that cake." With Hank's help, Tom filed a counterclaim: trespassing, harassment, and defamation. The footage was gold, and Ethan's willingness to testify about his mother's overreach was a cherry on top. Word spread fast, and Crestwood residents began whispering about Vanessa's antics. Her iron grip on the HOA started to slip, but Vanessa wasn't done. 2 days later, Tom woke to a nightmare. The pig pen was empty. The gate hung open, the lock smashed, and muddy hoof prints trailed off into the woods. Panic seized him as he called Eli and Clara. "They're gone," he said, voice shaking. "All of them. Bacon, too." The search began at dawn. Neighbors joined in, combing the fields and forests, calling out for the pigs. Hours passed with no sign until a kid from Ethan's party ran up, panting. "Found this near the Crestwood gate," he said, holding out a gold earring. Vanessa's, no doubt, from the party. Tom's blood boiled. "She took them," he said, grabbing his keys. "We're getting them back." He, Eli, and Clara piled into the truck and sped to Crestwood. They slipped through the gate behind another car and cruised the pristine streets until Eli spotted a flash of movement behind a mansion. There, in a backyard, was a bizarre sight. The pigs crammed into a kiddie pool surrounded by tiki torches and streamers, like some twisted luau. Lord Bacon sat atop a lawn chair, glaring at the world, a lei draped around his neck. Vanessa burst out of the house, flanked by her lawyer and a security guard. "You're trespassing," she shrieked, but her voice faltered as neighbors peeked over fences, phones recording. "And you stole my pigs," Tom shot back, stepping forward. "Caught you on camera sneaking around my land. And now this?" "You're done, Vanessa." Her lawyer whispered something, and she paled. The guard hesitated, clearly unsure whose side to take. Clara snapped photos while Eli coaxed the pigs out with a bag of apples. Bacon leapt off the chair, snorting at Vanessa as he trotted past, and the crowd of onlookers cheered. Vanessa's empire crumbled fast. The HOA ousted her within days, citing theft and abuse of power. The lawsuit collapsed when Hank presented the footage and Ethan's statement in court. Vanessa slunk away, her reputation in tatters, and Whispering Hollow reclaimed its peace. Weeks later, Tom threw a VY Tory party by the pond barbecue, music, and a pig parade led by Lord Bacon, crowned with a tinfoil tiara. Ethan showed up, grinning, and handed Tom a homemade medal for Bacon, hero of the Hollow. The community laughed and danced under the stars, united by a bond forged in mud and madness. As the fireflies blinked over the water, Tom raised a glass. "To the pigs, the pond, and the best damn fight we ever won," he said. The cheers echoed into the night, a testament to the little farm that stood tall against a storm and won. If you were the one in this story, how would you react? Would you stand up and fight back, or accept the unreasonable pressure and control from the HOA? Share your thoughts in the comments below. And don't forget to subscribe, like, and share this video with more people. Your small action gives us the motivation to keep bringing you more intense and engaging stories. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.